Hey everyone, this is Benson, and I'm a product manager here at Planning Center. And today we are going to be talking about Church Center app, which is a mobile app for iOS and Android for your congregants to connect with each other and your church. Today we're going to talk about how easy it is to get set up with the app, as well as the features of the app. And so before we get into that, a couple housekeeping items. During this training session, you might have a couple questions. On the top right-hand corner of every app in our suite, we have a question mark. You want to hit that. And that's going to bring up the help and support window. And here you'll see suggested articles, be able to ask a question, or contact our support team. This is also the best place to submit a new feature request if you have any. As I mentioned, contact our support team if you need any help. They are awesome. And so if you need any assistance setting up Church Center or anything else, don't hesitate to reach out. The second thing is that this is recorded. So if you want to rewatch this later or share this with a friend or someone else on the staff or your staff team, you can check this out at planning.center/university. That's where all our videos will be uploaded after their completion, as well as our YouTube channel, username Planning Center, and look for the Planning Center University playlist. All right, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you might be wondering is, what is Church Center? So if you're already using Planning Center, you're probably familiar with this if you're using Planning Center registrations, giving, or groups. This is the public-facing side of where your congregants interact with with Planning Center. And this is where you can give online, you can look for groups and sign up for groups, as well as register for events. So what we're talking about today is the mobile app. And so we took all those features and more and put them in a mobile app for Android and iOS. And it's absolutely free for your congregants to use. In addition, if you already have a Planning Center subscription, you get it for free as well. So that's Church Center. So let's talk a little bit about how to get that set up. And to do that, we're going to go to Planning Center accounts. So first thing is you need to be an organization administrator or OA in order to use Planning Center accounts. So if you aren't one, find yourself an OA to get you set up with this, and you can get going. So the first thing we need to make sure we have is a logo, which we already have on the top left here. This is what your congregants will see when they're searching for your church. So you want something that is visually distinctive and representative of your organization. And so that's step one. Step two is we need to go get our campus set up. And so we're right here on the church campuses tab. And you might already be wondering, hey, Benson, we're not a multi-campus church. We don't even use the word campus. Why do we need to do this? And the reason why is because we need to be able to locate where your church is. And so we're using the campus feature in order to do that. So even if you're not a multi-campus church, come and get a campus set up. So we're going to go ahead and type in Carlsbad Church, and then we're going to put in a description, and then we're going to scroll down here and put in an address, and put in a phone number. I'm going to put in a website and our email address, and then we're going to go ahead and hit save. The next thing we're going to do is, error, there we go. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to switch over to the Church Center tab. And you can see here a big checkbox for enabling Church Center app. And that's it. So you can see here that we have an app and we're ready to go. You'll notice that we automatically check off enabling all the other apps in the ecosystem. If for whatever reason you're not using any of these apps, you can turn it off and on as you see fit. So no worries there. So let's go ahead and hit save. And let's take a walk through the congregant experience. So we're going to go get that set up. All right, here we go. Sorry about that. So when you download the app, first screen you're going to see is the Get Started. And the first thing we're going to do is actually find our church. So we're going to go ahead and search manually for this test. We're going to search for Centerville, which is the church that we're working with. Oops. Go ahead and put our location here. Okay, and we have Carlsbad Church, which is what we just added right now. So we hit This is my church, and we're going to go log into the app. And so when you log into the app, we actually have two methods of logging in. We can put in our phone number or we can put in our email address. So let's go ahead and put in our phone number here. And we're going to move over to the next screen. And you'll notice here that we prompt for a 6-digit code. And the reason, the good news here is that you don't have to figure out a password or anything for your congregants. We're going to send a 6-digit code to either the phone number or the email that you have set up. And you can get logged in. And so you're probably also wondering, oh, do I have to set up accounts for people in my church? So Church Center app links completely with Planning Center people. And so all the information you've already loaded into your church database about your church, their phone numbers and email, we try to intelligently match with an existing profile. And if we find them, like we did for Ashley here in this demo, they'll get logged in just fine. If they're a brand new person, they're a visitor, we'll ask them for a little bit more information like their name and their email, since some of our apps require an email, and they'll log in, they'll reach this spot just as easily. But the good news is that all the information gets synced over to Planning Center people. You don't have to do any setup at all in terms of creating logins for your congregants. So let's go ahead and continue. And just like that, we have an app and we're all set up. Okay, that was a little bit of a contrived example. You saw me do a little bit of cutting and pasting there. But the point was to show you how easy it is to get set up. The only thing we really had to configure was the Church Center homepage, Church Center app homepage. All these other tabs on the bottom that you see here, give, groups, check-in, events, that's pulling in information that you already have set up if you're already using those apps. So that makes it super, super easy. We're gonna walk through the features of the Church Center home right now. So first thing that we see at the top right here is the church image, or in this case, the logo. But this is actually an image that you can upload yourself. So we're gonna switch back over to church campuses here and then edit Carlsbad Church. And this image is actually powered by the campus image selection here. So churches have done all sorts of creative things here. You can put in maybe an image representing an upcoming sermon series or a event that you guys want to feature, your congregation that you want to let your congregation know about. You can get a lot of different options in this space. The second section is what we're calling the campus description. And you can see here, this is a free form text field, meaning that you can put in any information in here. You can put in links, bullets, style it however you'd like. In this particular case, we've linked to a prayer request form as well as a live stream link. And so this gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of what to put in this space. The next thing I want to highlight is the contact bar. You can see down here we have a spot for phone, email, and website, and that corresponds to this information that I pasted in earlier into the campus page. And so if you don't want to provide any of this information, that's totally fine. All these will show up dynamically based on whether there is information in those fields or not in accounts. And then last we have we show the location, and then we provide a convenient way to get directions to your church. One thing I'm not showing here is service times, and that will show up right above the location block, and that will show you can optionally put in important times or service times for your church. All right, and that is the church homepage. So the next tab we're going to talk about is Give. So let's switch over there. All right, you can't quite give $1 million here in Church Center, but you can give up to 5-figure amounts. But for today, we're going to give $50 just for demo purposes, and we're going to hit next. And on this view, the first option we have is editing the fund. So if you are using Planning Center Giving already, this is the exact same fund list that you see on Church Center Web. The fund list, as well as all the descriptions, exactly the same. So if you've set them up there, it already works on the app automatically. The next thing we have is frequency. Your congregants can give a one-time gift or a recurring gift, weekly, every other week, monthly, and twice monthly. All right, to the payment method section. We're on an iPhone right now, so we have Apple Pay as an option. And since we're logged in, you actually will see any saved payment methods. So if your congregants have already saved a payment method through using Planning Center Giving, that will show up in this spot right here. So it makes it really easy. They don't have to add it again. We're automatically pulling in that information. You can also add additional payment methods. So if you want to add a bank account or a debit or credit card, you can do that here as well. So we're going to use a save payment method here, and we can also cover the processing fee. This is only available in the US. And then we're going to go ahead and give $51.41 right now. All right, so here we go. Wait a little bit. And there we are, a gift given to Centerville Church. So you'll notice here that this was a completely in-app giving experience, which we think is pretty awesome. And so if you want that, we definitely encourage you to go through the steps to get that set up. And if your congregants are using Android, they don't need to do anything. They'll get this experience automatically. But if you have a lot of iPhone users and you want to get them set up on this in-app giving experience, you want to switch back over to Planning Center accounts, go to the Church Center tab on the left-hand side, and then scroll to the bottom here under the Apple Pay section. And read through that information and follow the instructions on how to get your organization approved for Apple Pay. And that's an Apple requirement in order for us to offer this in-app giving experience. If for whatever reason it's taking a while or you don't want to do that, that's totally fine. What will happen is when you give, you'll actually get kicked out to a browser window to complete your donation. So we think the in-app giving experience is great, so we definitely encourage you to do that and get that set up for your church. Another thing to note, if you're not using giving for any reason, we know lots of churches are using third-party giving systems. As I mentioned earlier, you can also disable this tab. And the way that will work is the Give tab will just not show. So you'll see Home, Groups, Check-ins, and Check-in and Events. So we have some flexibility there. And that's the Give tab. We're going to go ahead and move to the Groups tab. This is powered, shockingly, by Planning Center Groups, and we have two sections here. We have the My Group section and Find a Group. And so let's dive into the Find a Group section. This is the group directory, and very similar to Planning Center Giving. If you've already set this up on the Church Center website, this is the exact same list on the Church Center website, but we've translated it over to the app. So you can see a list of groups, the different group types, group descriptions, as well as search and filter by different groups. And you can actually join the group directly from within the app and get more information about it. Other thing that you can do too is you can contact the group leaders. So this makes it really easy for congregants that are checking out different groups or have any questions before they join the group. They can contact the group leader with any questions they may have. Once you join the group, that group will show up in the My Group section. So let's take a look at what that experience looks like. So Parenting 101, we're part of this group. You'll be able to subscribe to any upcoming events. This will add a feed to your calendar on your phone. You can see group resources as well as see group members and information about the group. All right, and that's it for the Groups tab. This is where congregants can discover and join new groups as well as interact with groups that they're a part of. All right, onward and upward to the next tab. We're going to talk about check-in. Okay. This will allow your church to speed up the check-in process for your congregants by allowing them to pre-check in advance from the app directly. So we can see here, Ashley has her whole household listed. We're going to go ahead and check in their kids, Lisa and Michael. You'll notice that the location is all automatically selected, and you have the option of selecting from options. And we're going to go ahead and hit next, and we get a barcode. And so what will happen here is you'll bring this to, you'll scan this QR code at a station at your church, and labels will just start printing for all the people that you've selected for your pre-check. And so the only prerequisite is that on the station side, you need to have a camera of some sort. So that's probably going to be an iPad or a tablet of some sort, or you can purchase a 2D barcode scanner that runs about $50 or so. And that's a prerequisite in order to use this pre-check capability. And this is the fastest way to check in to Planning Center check-ins. With the mobile app, your congregants can get ready when they're at home, before they even get to church, or they're in church and they're on their way to the check-in line, and they just have to scan this QR code and the labels will start printing. So super convenient. All right, we are on the last tab, which is Events. All right, this is powered by Planning Center registrations, and you can see a list of events that congregants can register for, as well as a list of events of interest. So let's talk a little bit about registrations. We're going to go ahead and register for the Newcomers Lunch this October 13th. On the event detail page, you'll see information about the event, and you can register from directly within the app. So if you're familiar with Planning Center registrations, you know that you'll typically need to log in order to register for an event. And the good news with Church Center app is that because you're already logged in there, we make sure that you're logged in when you start the registration process. So this makes it really, really easy for you to register for yourself or on behalf of members of your family. After you register, you can actually, you can also view your existing registration. So look at Fall Retreat here. We registered before, and you can actually view your registration. So this is really convenient if you need to fill out some additional forms, or you need to see how much something did cost, or any information you may want to know about an existing registration. All right, the other thing here is that you can also use the events tab as in a church calendar and to highlight events of interest. So if we scroll back up to All Church Picnic, you'll notice that that action bar that we saw on the bottom where you could view and register for an event is gone now. And this makes it really easy for you to feature events and just make this your church calendar. All right, that is the events tab. We're hitting the home stretch here, and we're going to click on this icon on the top right. So congregants can edit and manage a whole bunch of information in relation to how they're connected with their church from this view. Hopefully everyone who is in your church that's connected to your church is using this app. And when things changed, you want to make it easy for them to update information they have with you guys. So from here, you can actually, I just tapped on her profile photo. You can update the photo. You can update their phone number as well as their email address and address. You can also update things like profile information, so medical notes or birthday or anything like that. So all this information that you can update, you can also do that for your household. So if we back up here and scroll down to My Household, you'll notice that you'll see everyone in Ashley's household. And if we tap into one of their kids, you can update all this information for them too. So this puts a lot of the power back in your congregants' hands to be able to update a lot of this information about their family. All right, in addition to that information, there's a couple more things that your congregants will have access to. And one of those is My Groups, My Registrations, and Giving. And so My Groups will link to a list of the groups that you're a part of, similar to what we saw earlier. My Registrations will link you to all your existing registrations as well as your incomplete registrations. So if you've started a registration and if your congregants have started registrations and they need to come back to it, they can do that from this view. And then the last thing is My Giving. And from here, you can edit and manage your reoccurring donations, see your donation history, see official statements that have been generated by the church, as well as manage your donor email notifications. And then you can also manage your payment methods from this view. And that is Church Center app. Believe it or not. So that is a quick tour of all the app's capabilities. And you're probably wondering, this is fantastic. How do I roll this out? Do you have any suggestions on what we should be thinking about if we want to roll this out to our church? So a couple things we want to mention. First thing is Church Home. As I mentioned earlier, this is what your congregants will see every single time that they open up the app. So it's important to think about what information you want to put here. We definitely have seen a lot of churches link to things like newcomer forms or sign-up sheets. But a consistent theme is that they will update this page with information on a regular basis because this is what their congregants will see every single time they open the app. The second thing is events. Some of you guys might not be using Planning Center registrations already. This is a great spot for highlighting your church calendar. And so we definitely encourage you to sign up for Planning Center registrations, and you can use even the free tier in order to publish your church calendar to this view. The third thing is just another reminder that if you're not using all the apps in our ecosystem, that's totally fine. So you might just be using groups, for example. We've definitely seen churches just have the home tab and the groups tab and use it with great effectiveness. So don't worry about if you're not using all the features in the app. The last thing is that we definitely suggest that you try this out with a small team first. So load it up with all the information that you want and have, staff teams or just a small circle of people try the app out and the whole experience before you roll it out to your congregation. And the last thing is when you're ready, we have made some marketing collateral ready for your church. So let's scroll over to, you'll want to check out our website, planning.center/logos. And this has a bunch of stuff, but you'll want to scroll all the way to the bottom and you'll see a section called Church Center Marketing Assets. And we've made PNGs as well as Photoshop files available to you to make it really easy for you to communicate with your church that you guys are now using Church Center app. All right, so for some of you, this app is already a huge head start for you and you're super excited about the capabilities. For others, you're easily identifying different things that still need to get in place in order for you to start using it or switch away from an existing solution, and that's totally okay. We released this app earlier this year and we've been steadily improving it, and this upcoming year we're going to be really focusing on improving check-ins and groups, as well as working on additional ways to customize functionality for the Church Center app, or customize the appearance and what you can see there. So be excited and look for more updates to the Church Center app. All right, well, so the goal with the Church Center app, we built this with congregants in mind. The goal is to really help your congregants get more connected with your church as well as with each other. So whether that is giving online, whether that is registering for events, signing up and interacting with groups, or editing even their profile information, all these things were built with creating Church Center app to be a hub for your church to connect to. So that's Church Center app, and that's all we have for today's PCU. Thanks for listening. A couple things that we want to talk about is if you want to rewatch this is going to be available on our YouTube channel, as well as planning.center/university. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact our awesome support team. All right, thanks everyone.